Hello. My name is Juanita, and I'm part of the Fundación Varkey Foundation, and we foster school leadership, and we are very keen on doing this welcome for the second day of the summit, School Leadership Matters. And before starting, let's guarantee the session runs smoothly. So please select interpretation feature in the bottom part of your screen and choose the language you feel more comfortable with. The session is available in English, Spanish, Portuguese, and in French. This session will last for 60 minutes, including the time for Q&A that we'll be having by the end of the session using the Q&A feature of the Zoom app. And we may have this feature to interact with other participants, and we will have a space of open mic for proper interaction by the end. Please, the attendees remain muted during the session and avoiding background noise. And we have an excellent panel. We are grateful to have as a moderator for this section. So the CEO and the director for the history and policy for the Zurich University, and professor and leader for almost 30 years, co-founder of the IB network of the UK, and guided Wales, England, and is an ambassador of a council, an advisor, and a participant of many international conferences, and part of all the international organizations. He writes for international journals, and besides, in 2024, he's been pre-selected for TESS Awards as a Principal of the Year. So Rob Ford, be very welcome, and we can start right now.
Thank you, Wani, and good afternoon. Hello, hola to everybody. It's so exciting to be here, and actually we have a really interesting question for all school leaders this afternoon. So thank you for the great introduction there. When you hear yourself, you always think, have I really done all of these things? But that just underlines the fact that as school leaders, we do so many things, and sometimes we don't even realize it. Question for us for the School Leadership Matters Summit for us this afternoon, or wherever you are around the world, is what's holding school leaders back and how do we break these barriers? And we've got a really fascinating and very well experienced panel of school leaders. It's my privilege that I've worked with many of them, all of them, for a number of years, including Mrs. Aher for many years. So I'm really excited about having this discussion this afternoon. First of all, I'd like to introduce my dear colleague all the way from Argentina, Alejandra, who's a Spanish teacher, pedagogical coordinator, vice principal, extensive experience in school leadership. Alejandra has been an active member of the School Leadership Network since its inception, with me 4 years ago and others. She serves as a T4 Education Ambassador for Argentina, proudly flying the flag for Argentina in global education. She's an educational consultant for Latin America and also for the Global School Alliance. So we're very pleased to have Alejandra's experience and wisdom with us this afternoon, and lots of ideas about how we break those barriers and what those challenges are. Manuel is director of the Maria Auxiliadra Polytechnic Institute in Puerto Montt in Chile, winner of the LED Award given to school leadership directors. I hope I said that correctly. Manuel as well, so you have to excuse me. I need to work on my Spanish, and as you know, and he's also a member of the School Leadership Network. Mrs. Aher, Ibu Aher, I've known for many years as from school partnerships. It's a privilege to be on the same panel as Mrs. Aher. Incredible work in her schools, all the way on the other side of the world to Argentina, depending if you go eastwards. But she's principal of 2 schools in Bandung, fantastic city. I had the privilege of working in Bandung in those schools in SMAN 3 and SMAN 16 in Indonesia. Incredible state high schools doing brilliant work. Some of the most inspiring work I saw was when I went to Indonesia and saw the work in Mrs. Julaeha's school. She's part of the International Conference of School Leadership Delegations. We've done lots of work together in things like British Council before. And before we go into the discussion, we've introduced our panel, and we're going to have a short video, I believe. Wonderful. Right. We know we're short for time. We've got a lot of things to talk about this afternoon and get the experience of all of us around this screen and questions from all our colleagues from around the world who've joined us. So welcome and thank you for being part of this for the School Leadership Matters Summit. Right. Panel, we've gone through our questions and we've got some ideas ready. So I'm going to kick off by saying the most obvious question for all of us here. What are some of the biggest challenges that keep us awake at night? And as a school leader, who wants to start? Alejandra, do you want to start?
Sí, claro. Buenos días. Muchas gracias.
Yeah, sure thing. So thank you very much, Alejandra from Argentina. Thank you very much for the kind invitation. So I'm very happy to be here sharing with you this in this moment. One of the questions, one of the issues, well, many issues, but making us wake during the night, well, what has been making me suffer from recently is how to guarantee the well-being, the social well-being of my educational community. And well, the social, the physical, and social emotional well-being of the students, faculty members, parents, caregivers, the whole school community. And the projects that we are fostering here that I think about during the night is how to develop, how to keep talents, educational talents, faculty members, how to retain talents, those who we need at school, to keep them passionate, to keep them committed, how to motivate them every day, you know, and how to make them wishful, how to make them curious, how to make students curious, each day more curious about, you know, learning more, and how to foster and improve pedagogical practices. Well, actually, several and various questions that may concern us, but that make us, you know, sleepless. But we try to foster positivity. So a positive mindset, making people, all the school community motivated. And I think ways of motivating the faculty members, I think about how my faculty members, they will feel, my students, how they will feel more valued, more motivated. And well, actually, I could elicit, you know, an infinite list. But so well-being, social, emotional well-being, in a summary of the community, it's a great concern of mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's really comprehensive, Alejandra, and that has really kicked us off with lots of ideas. All of us would share all of those things that do keep us awake at night, because basically we are there to enable and to look after our teams so they can do their jobs. And that's one of the key things. We need to know what we can do to remove the barriers from them, but that puts burden on us as we're like the lightning conductor that takes all the shock so we don't pass it on to our colleagues. We're the firewall. Mrs. Aher, what would you say? Just, I know we're very conscious of time. We've got 3 more questions to go as a panel. What would you add to Alejandra's list from your experience?
Yeah. I think not very different from our country, and still well-being is the important things. Then we, as you know, that now I lead on a school where very variety of different culture, and also from lower economical conditions. So we have many problems in facing this. How we have to put the position of the quality of education in the same with other schools. So due to the lower budgeting from the government, you know that our school is a state school, so we depend on the fund from the government. So sometimes we have some difficult things when we are going to run the program, that due to the fund that we need, and the budgeting is very low.
Thank you, Mrs. Aya. Funding is a central problem, concern, challenge for every school leader, every society. We know that, and it's a good point. My dear friend Manuel, I'm going to go on to question 2 and perhaps ask your opinion, your views. What have you learned about your own leadership as you've worked to overcome some of these challenges?
Hola, un saludo a todos y a todas, ¿cierto? Desde acá.
Hello, hello, from Porto Montt, south of Chile. I think the leadership, has been transformed. Leadership has been transforming in the last decade, I think, on the global level. So global leadership, and mainly the educational one. I believe the most important thing is that leadership may put people together, reunite them, towards a common goal, and generate a high expectation culture, and allow people to foster development. So may the professional development be shared and be valued and be a common set of values, part of a common set of values. As Alejandra said, it's important the faculty members, they feel they are supported. They have my support, but they are part of the construction. They are not passive. They are active members of this construction. It's not about vertical leadership, top-bottom leadership, no hierarchical role. It's a leadership that is much more about creating teams, creating crews, fostering the growth of everyone. And I think it's much more purposeful as a participant of the school community. So students are leaders as well. The leadership is shared with the students. We have student leaders also participating. So not only building the premise, the assumptions of the projects, but they need to foster self-assessment. They need to assess school infrastructure. I think leadership nowadays has to do with transformation, and this leadership, it puts people together.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I would pick up on that point you made, because I think when I look at my own sort of what I've learned as a school leader, is I think about the agency that helps me. I don't have all the answers. I'm one person. My job is to lead. My job is to set the direction. People do look to us, but we can't do it on our own. And I think what you've described there, the best organizations, the best schools, they have these teams. And actually the best part of the job, in my opinion, is to develop people, is to get the succession planning, the next generation of leaders. We all were young rookies once, and we've had somebody and some people mentor us, coach us. And I think that's a really good point. And it's a global issue. It's a very pertinent global issue. We don't want school leaders who are just putting the position because they know somebody or because they've sat in the right chair for a long enough time. I'm very conscious of time with this session, so forgive me. I'm going to go straight to question 3 because we're flowing as we go through these questions and building our answers. Alejandra, I'll come to you if you don't mind to start the 3rd question. And it kind of leads on from what I've been saying and what Manuel is saying. What is the best support one can offer school leaders? Think of all the programs, the training, the networks. I mean, our fantastic network here for us as global school leaders, and the incredible work and support we get from Varkey in our networks. what are the experiences? What would you reflect upon this and share with our audience?
Bueno, lo que les puedo compartir es que fue para mí, en mi experiencia personal, de suma utilidad esto de trabajar en redes, ¿no?
In my personal experience, I think it's about the importance of creating networks, regional networks, national networks, and working collaboratively with international networks that we take part in today and are privileged to be able to talk to and converse about several aspects with different people around the world. So we're able to understand what we have in common through this relationship, the global school leaders and other networks. I think this was very useful, to say the least. It potentialized our role and gave us the ability to see that we are, in fact, all in the same boat. We share tools, we share concrete, real applicable tools. And aside from that, we transcend professionally. We have, many of us, created other networks that have also brought more potential to our actions aside from professional growth. So I think this relates to everything that has been said up until this point. What Manuel said, it's not a matter of I order and you obey. We build among ourselves. We're all involved in the same project. And of course, as pedagogical leaders, I'm responsible for the decisions made, and these decisions are made with great responsibility. But I would like to emphasize this, the support that we receive, this contention as leaders. We have been working for approximately 4 years. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we have been inspiring each other and uniting our efforts. We also developed awareness of what it means to actually be a leader in educational quality.
Absolutely. And muy bien, Alejandra, absolutely. Mrs. Eha, what's the best support one can offer school leaders? Mrs. Eha, I think you're on mute. Perfect. We want to hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. Do you hear me? Okay. Based on insufficient fund, we try to be smart in using effective funds effectively as possible, and we must also be able to prioritize more important superior programs that are really needed by students. And also, first, we have to analyze on making some innovation and adaptation as educational leader, foster innovation in learning and methodology, and help institutions adapt to changing curriculums and circumstances, like the response of political condition in Indonesia. And also we have to improve educational program by giving some training to the teachers to increase their competence and inspiring positive work culture, and also policy development and advocacy.
Wonderful. I couldn't agree more. Mrs. Eha, I was thinking just then, Moldova, sometimes the ministry is very bureaucratic. They have a very set way they want to do things. It's not always up to date with what we need as school leaders, because there's a gulf between us and the people who make policy. And that's why these external networks are really important to give us support as school leaders and to share different concepts and ideas from around the globe. I'm conscious I want to move to questions from the audience, but I'd like to, Manuel, can I come to you for our final panel question, which is a great one for any school leader. Why does school leadership matter?
El liderazgo escolar importa porque creo que es fundamental que quienes asumen liderazgos escolares
School leadership matters because I believe it's fundamental for the person to have a vocation and passion for what we're doing. It is important to transform the lives of the people and the society. This changes, it transforms the community. So in that sense, just like our colleagues said, we have to bring down the red tape. So we have to generate autonomy in the work teams and make sense with what we're acting upon. We have to have teachers who generate a scenario where youth in the world can be incorporated to the society in which we live. And the society is constantly changing. And in that sense, a leader should never think that they will be transforming things alone. It's important to know what's happening in Moldova, Indonesia, Chile, all around, so that we can share this rich information that we have and the love that we have for education.
Absolutely. Manuel, I've just come back from the UK, where I'm from, and I did some work with school leaders there. The biggest challenge they have and why school leadership matters is they don't think teachers want to become school leaders. They see the burdens we have, the stresses, the workload, the pressures, and one of the big challenges making sure that school leadership is absolutely, we know from the work of people like John Hattie, that outside of the influence of the teacher, us as school leaders can influence educational outcomes, life opportunities. So absolutely, we are crucial in all of this. I want to, in the last section of our summit today, for our panel, is to just go to questions. And we've got one question from Fatima for the panel. So if you want to take this one and jump in. What are the most important skills that a successful school leader needs in the age of technology? None of us are about to say that we are going to be replaced by AI, okay? So I'm going to tell you that now, all right? A good human being is going to matter more and more in this world, I'm sure of it, especially after today. Yeah. Hearing the news from our cousins across the Atlantic, right? What's the most important skills in the age of technology? Anyone want to take that one?
Sí, yo puedo, y después mis compañeros me ayudan. Creo que en la era de la tecnología es importante que un líder escolar sea flexible, se adapte, tenga curiosidad por aprender, que transmita esa pasión y ese deseo, que fomente una cultura de aprendizaje, que empodere a sus docentes, que ayude a que la escuela se alfabetice, que no tenga miedo.
You shouldn't be afraid. You have to have courage and be responsible. Promote collaboration, have empathy, establish clear objectives. Be trustworthy. Transmit trust. Your leadership has to have credibility. You must adapt and always be open to learn.
Manuel.
I agree 100% with what Alejandra has said. I think that one of the greatest responsibilities we have in any areas, especially technology towards leaders, is knowing how to listen. I think it's a key factor. Listening to your community, the different actors that are within, and being able to show empathy.
Yeah.
Being open to innovation. And AI has a certain role, but it will never be more humanized than us. It will never be able to foster a process of humanization, of well-being, of happiness throughout the school community that we can promote.
En cualquier colegio.
Absolutely. What comes through, I know the work, sorry, Mrs. Hedge, I just grab this point. What comes through from all of you, and I know you because of your work and working with you, is our emotional intelligence. You talk about empathy, we talk about listening to people, we talk about developing people. That, I think, and that sits in a symbiotic relationship with technology. We're working together this afternoon because of our technology. Manuel's absolutely right. AI has a place. Parent conferences online are much easier than getting people to come to the school on a wet Wednesday evening. But at the same time, the teacher who's not technologically literate will be replaced. The school leader who's not technologically literate will be replaced. But it doesn't mean that this is the panacea to everything. And as we know in our educational business, there's lots of people with panaceas and silver bullets that think they will solve everything like this, and they won't. Sorry, Mrs. Eyre, I jumped in. I'll give the floor to you.
Yeah, I think the educator cannot be replaced by anything else, the tech, such as robot technology or AI, because as Manuel and Alejandra said, we are agree with this statement. And I think when we are going to interact with people, we should not know how we grow the empathy and how we understand each other. We need a heart, and because AI cannot be touch the heart of the human, and education or in teaching, we have to interact people in not only in mind, but also we have to interrupt the heart also. And we know that the principal as leader of educational has a strong commitment in educating or in determining the direction and the progress of education in school, and of course the progress of the nation, because it includes ultimate goal of the country. And also educational leader refer to the professional practices of leaders and or administration working within academic institution, guiding and influence educator to improve learning and other educational process. And the role of the educational leader is more than just managing administrative tasks. They are practitioners who focus on applying knowledge to make a positive difference in educational system. They collaborate and communicate with diverse communities, building partnership to promote positive outcomes, and meeting transformative goals.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mrs. Eyre. Thank you to all the panels. Fatima, thank you for your question. Thank you for everybody for contributing and watching this afternoon. 30 seconds each. Final thoughts from this afternoon, what we've spoken about. What's holding us back? Come on, final thoughts. What's holding us back and how do we get through those barriers? Alejandra, 30 seconds.
Sí, bueno, nos está deteniendo todo lo que nos abruma cada día, ¿no? En las escuelas, esto que nombraba la colega de la burocracia.
As our colleague mentioned, I would like, before we finish everything up here, I would like to leave a message, actually, a very positive one, as a final reflection on the topic. What can we do with everything that is detaining us? I would like to share with you a transformative vision from the book Educating for Life, and emphasize what Manuel talked about. He talks about humanizing and empathy. We are not humanizing schools in the way that we should. We are not humanizing ourselves in the way we should. As leaders, we've seen this in a lot of meetings that we've been to regarding education. Education needs to humanize itself. We have to turn schools into spaces of cooperation and justice and projects that are of use to us. We have to potentialize the youth, the teachers, the students, and humanize schools so that education builds freer people that have opinions, that are able to cooperate in contexts that are more just, more cooperative, and more sustainable. With this positive message, what can we do to achieve this? We're going to have a huge list. And I think that good leaders, passionate leaders that are convinced of what they do can become the grain of sand to this construction.
Alejandra, muy bien, thank you, gracias. You've summed up for all of the panelists, I think, and we're out of time, but I think that finishes our thoughts for our roundtable on the challenges, but also on a very positive. We need positivity and hope today more than ever, and for lots of reasons. But I think that's also, as school leaders, if we lose our hope, we lose our optimism, then we're never going to go through these barriers and we're never going to solve some of the big issues that we face. We need each other. We need our Global School Leaders Network from Varkey, from TTF 2030, from UNESCO, from all our wonderful schools and principals that join our group. And it's a wonderful arena for us to give our thoughts and speak freely. And if there's no answer, that's okay, because that's education. There aren't always answers, but we can talk about it and find the answer together. So, Esperanza, absolutely. So again, gracias, mulțumesc, diolch yn fawr in Welsh. Thank you so much to all my panelists and dear colleagues. And thank you also to the great people who keep us all together from Varkey Foundation and from Global School Leaders Network. This has been a really great summit and it continues. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are. Keep hopeful and let's keep our school communities going forward. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay, hasta luego.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Rob, y los invitamos a unirse mañana a los 3 paneles que aún quedan sobre políticas de liderazgo y sobre todo el último en el que
Tomorrow we will be bringing together some other panelists, more panelists with the same quality, directors and all of those that are here today. I hope to see you tomorrow. We'll be able to hear your experiences just as we did today. Thank you so much, Rob. And we continue giving way to leadership because leadership is what matters. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. Good evening, good afternoon.